Well, the high school football season officially over. Section 2 teams go 0-3, unfortunately, in the state championships this weekend. Hoosick Falls falls in Class C on Saturday. Schalmont falls to Maine-Endwell out of the Binghamton-area in Class B. And Queensbury in Class A suffers a 63-38 loss in Class A against Indian River. As I said, 2 Section 2 teams drop state title games to Binghamton-area teams, so we're bringing in our Binghamton-area expert, Jeremy Donovan of FOX 40 in Binghamton. Jeremy, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
So you were out at the Carrier Dome on Saturday and Sunday. We'll start with Sunday. Schalmont, Class B, Section 2 champions. They had at one point during the season, Jeremy, outscored Section 2 Class B opponents more than 500-50. This was a dynamic offense. They got down 27-0 yesterday against Maine-Endwell. What did the Spartans do to the Sabres?
I think a lot of it was momentum. I mean, we've been saying all year, especially that this Maine-Endwell team might not be as good offensively as they have been in years past, but their defense is what kept them in every game all season and dominated every game all season. And I mean, they didn't really do anything that we haven't seen here before. And I think that pick six to start the game, well, not to start the game, but on Schalmont's second offensive play of the game, Adam Gallagher, who ended up being finals MVP, pick six for the 30-some yards out. Even though it was just 7-0 at the time, that's a tough momentum swing to get stuck in a rut like that.
Maine-Endwell, their fourth consecutive New York State title in Class B. These two teams met last year in the state final. It was a different story early last year. Schalmont had the early lead. Maine-Endwell came back. This year the roles were reversed. Schalmont tried to, fell 27-19. How different were the 2 years' games? This
year's game was obviously not as exciting. It got a little more exciting than it probably should have been. But last year, especially on our end, was very nerve-wracking. I know, I talked to the coaching staff last year and, kind of jokingly asked Matt Gallagher when he thought they had that one won or when they had a chance of winning. He said not until that final play, that final pass fell incomplete. This year, I mean, I even asked Michael Palmer, who was, a big wide receiver for them. He had an interception last night. I asked him what it was about that fourth quarter that let Schalmont back in, and he said, we kind of probably felt like we had it won after 3. He goes, and anytime you do that, that's a comeback is bound to happen. He's like, we can't do that going forward. So this year seemed a lot more of a distant game than last year. But it got real exciting there, and 20 seconds left. If Schalmont had recovered that onside kick, you got maybe 1 or 2 plays to find the end zone, and it would have only been fitting to have that game once again come down to possibly a 2-point conversion.
Yeah, the play you're alluding to that made this game closer than probably the final score indicates was the Maine-Endwell center quarterback exchange on the kneel down was fumbled with under a minute to play. Schalmont recovers, takes it down for a touchdown. So they did have a chance with that onside kick. They were within 1 possession with 10 seconds to play, but ultimately did not go the Sabres' way. Jeremy, Maine-Endwell, 4 consecutive state titles. How are they doing it? What's the dominance out there in the Binghamton area about?
If you can come up with an answer to that, please inform all of us. We've been trying to figure out if it's something in the water. I mean, something out of Space Jam, Michael's secret stuff. We have no idea. It's just there, as Coach Gallagher said yesterday, the community and the school district breeds excellence. And, I mean, it sounds, when you first hear it, it might sound a little arrogant, but it's true. I mean, they've, every year, and it's not just football. Every year between all sports, baseball, softball, soccer, lacrosse, you name it, every year they seem to average 8, 9, 10 section champions. I mean, Kyle Gallagher, who is Adam's older brother, who was the quarterback of the team last year, in his 4 years, he won, I believe it was 8 or 9 section titles just himself. So, I mean, it's long periods of, especially more obviously recent than years past, but every kid in that school seems to be a top-notch athlete. I mean, they won football-wise, as you said, they won 4 straight state titles. They won 51 games in a row, tying a state record. It's just unbelievable.
Jeremy Donovan, Fox 40 in Binghamton with us, talking about the state finals this past weekend, rather. Jeremy, I want to ask you something if you picked up on this. Not sure if you did, because obviously cameramen are getting ready to report, get post-game interviews, etc. You might have missed this, but one thing that was evident to me on television was the respect that these two teams and programs had for each other. As the game was about to end and Schalmont knew that they hadn't recovered the onside kick, there was going to be no chance at a miracle. They weren't down. They were congratulatory of their opponent. They were still trying to hype up their crowd and appreciate what their crowd had done for them all season. Did you get that sense being in the building that these two teams had a great respect for each other?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of respect between the two, especially after last year. And there's also I don't want to say a level of hate, but I mean you can't love your opponent, I guess is the best way to say it. And because you want to win, so you want to beat them. So they kind of love to hate each other, if that makes sense. They respect each other, but they want to go out and beat them. So I think if this game had been much closer, it would have been a lot tougher on Schalmont. Obviously, last year, as excited as I was to watch the Maine-Endwell kids celebrate their state title, and last year, turning over and looking at the Schalmont kids, every one of them was just devastated, and why not? I mean, they only lost the game with 4 seconds left. That's a tough thing for anybody to handle, let alone a teenager. This year, it kind of felt, even with the fourth quarter comeback, it kind of felt like they had a little more time to mentally prepare for it. Obviously, it's still a tough way to end a career or a season, depending on what year you are. But I got to give the kids from Schalmont credit. One of them, I don't know names and I don't even know a number, but one of them was, telling his kids that, or telling his teammates that, this isn't just a team, it's not just a game, you guys are family, nothing to be ashamed about, I'm a Sabre till I die. It was a great thing to see, in that tough of a time for a young kid that you can stay that positive.
Jeremy Donovan, Fox 40 in Binghamton with us. Talking now, moving Class C. We'll get you out of here on this. Hoosick Falls, you talk about a 51-game win streak in the state for Maine-Endwell. Well, Hoosick Falls has a 50-plus game win streak within Section 2 play dating back to 2009. They fall in their quest for the Class C state title on Saturday, losing to Chenango Forks, another Binghamton-area team. What did you see on Saturday, Jeremy?
I saw a very uncharacteristic performance from Chenango Forks. Not knowing anything about Hoosick Falls, aside from what you just told me, I was kind of anticipating, I don't want to say a blowout because the state championship games are rarely blowouts, but I was not expecting Forks to need a fourth quarter comeback to win it. I mean, the score was 14-12 in favor of Hoosick Falls at the half, but I'm trying to come up with another time at all this season where Forks was down at the half, and the only thing I can think of is maybe the Maine-Endwell game. And obviously Maine-Endwell, is a tough team to beat, impossible team to beat lately. Forks is a very well-disciplined team. Their defense is phenomenal, and it's not a matter of when their offense is going to, or if their offense is going to burn you, it's a matter of when. So the fact that they coughed the ball up 6 times and 5 of them resulted in turnovers was unbelievable. I think that beat every other game this season combined. They were obviously hurt by not having a L.J. Watson, their sophomore running back, wasn't at 100%, so he didn't have a lot of carries, and I think that hurt him. But it was very uncharacteristic of them.
Jeremy Donovan, Fox 40 in Binghamton, joining us this Monday on the 1045theteam.com podcast, helping put a bow on the high school football season. Section 2 teams 0-3 in their quest for state championships this weekend, but still an accomplishment to be there nonetheless, representing Section 2 well. Jeremy, thanks for being with us. I hope we're doing this again soon, and hopefully with a little more success out here on our side.
Absolutely. Great to have you. Great to chat.